you're building a team, let's say you are leaders or managers, then that can be a framework that you can use.
Very motivating for me, and I really enjoy.
I don't know if you want to talk about the good and bad about the events.
Hello, welcome to the Design Thinking Club podcast. I'm your host Baim,
and I'm Gaddafi.
This is gonna be our first episode. Basically, gonna be a brief intro, I guess, of the podcast before we go dive deeper in the next episodes.
I guess we just want to introduce the podcast and maybe talk a bit about why we are doing it and what's the expectation to the audience, right?
Sure. So basically the story goes, right? I think we kind of have been talking about this for quite some time. Personally, I've also talked to my wife. I'm thinking of creating a podcast and whatnot. But I remember the specific moment when we were on a ride together for a trip. Right, you were driving and I was sitting. I was going shotgun and I was telling God, hey, I think we should start a podcast. And then your answer was like, yeah, let's do it. Right? So I think that was, to me at least, that's like the green light lah, or the motivator to really start this. The reason why I was thinking to have a Design Thinking Club podcast is to kind of like generate a brand or a podcast that is around a community. In the tech industry, especially the designers, product managers, and also of course the developers. But probably we're gonna start to focus a bit more on the design aspect first, right?
Yeah, maybe because we are designers ourselves, so we are more familiar. But eventually hopefully we'll learn from everyone lah in the industry, right?
Yeah.
I think you mentioned also before when we talk about this, even though we are doing this design thinking podcast, it also doesn't mean that we are an expert lah. So we probably the least expert people in the room right now. For when you talk about design thinking, there's a lot of people out there who are more experienced in terms of implementing those, right? So I think this is also a medium for us lah, to learn and to inspire by other people in the industry, and also to also help cascading this knowledge down to the rest of the people who are interested to be part of this industry, right? Yeah. So we don't have to know it all lah. I think we are here to learn, and hopefully everyone can also learn with us. Right?
I want to emphasize a bit more on that. We are not expert in design thinking. I think one of the things that we agreed upon is that we want to have this podcast to also build a platform for us to learn more about design thinking and how does people in the industry implement design thinking, right? I'm sure it's going to be different from team to team. Maybe a small team, the design thinking, they're quite limited. So that'd be still quite interesting how they implement it, right?
Yeah, I mean every companies might have their own challenges, right? Like in terms of resources, timeline, money, right? So it will be interesting to know how these designers and this product team take on that challenge, but still able to maybe implement a bit of the design thinking process in order to produce or get their products out to the market, right? So hopefully these challenges, I'm sure a lot of people will be able to relate lah, right? So a lot of companies, a lot of startups don't have that privilege, I guess, to hire a lot of people, to spend a lot of money, right? So hopefully these challenges can be shared lah, right? So everyone can learn from them as well. So that's one thing I'm interested to know about as well.
Yeah, I think there's somewhat a gap in this topic, I guess. So it's also in a, I hopefully in an a interesting format, easy to digest for most people, right? Since everyone is already on their phone, they can listen to Spotify maybe, or even YouTube Shorts or TikTok.
I think one thing that we should try to do is to get these people, right, who are working behind the scene in building these products, designing and figuring out how to solve some problems, get them to I would say to bring them forward lah, right, to share their stories, their journeys. Of course talking about design thinking, but at the same time talking about their journey of getting to become a designer, right? So because maybe one objective we should talk about is inspiring those who are interested to be a designer. Maybe not a designer yet, maybe not working in technology companies yet, but maybe they are in a different industry, they want to make a switch. So hopefully this changes.
They have interest.
They have the interest. They probably go to events and all that, right? But hopefully the sharing by these people who have done it before can help them to make a first step lah. It's a very risky step, very scary step. So this hopefully can be a stepping stone for them to learn from others. Yeah. So I guess that's what we are doing here, right?
Yeah. Hopefully.
So you mentioned about the community aspect. So I guess the name club, right? So hopefully eventually it become a community. Like maybe we can talk a bit more about that.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I think I've been working in the startup space for quite a while now. I think my first company was also a startup. And one thing that I noticed is that people in startup, not just designers, usually they are very close-knit in some ways. Like you kind of like share the same culture or the passion to try new things, to really like push the boundaries. And I find that very motivating for me, and I really enjoy hanging out with people in the tech space. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily need to be designer. I think that's the ideal. Like hopefully we can build like a community that is helping each other to build cool stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Same. I think because I think similar to you, I was also in multiple startups in the early of my career, right? Definitely agree. I think when you have a very similar-minded people in working for a product, I think they tend to be very close-knit and very they solve the problem together and they try to help each other as much as they can, right? So that's one. I think we can try to take that and figure out how to bring that into a community, maybe. Yeah. All right.
It's just a start. We have to really like think how to do this right, and
we're still figuring out as we go. We don't know.
This is also our first time being a podcaster. MVP.
Setting up. If you see what's happening behind the scene, you'll be laughing at us. But I mean, hopefully, eventually we'll figure out how to make it work for everyone.
Yeah.
Figure out how to get people to share their stories and learn from each other.
Yeah. Okay. Let's dive right in.
Yeah,
maybe.
Sure. I think for the first episode, maybe we can talk about some news. I don't know. What are we talking about? FUSECON or what?
Yeah, I think we can touch a bit because both of us recently went to FUSECON, which is a product event, should I say?
Product Design and Technology Conference. I think that's how they branded it. Yeah, it happens on 3rd and 4th of October recently. So we both of us went to the conference. Maybe we can talk about what we learned, I guess. Learn from those talks and panels. And we can start with that. I don't know if you want to talk about the good and bad about the events.
Yeah, I think
we can talk about what we learned from any of the talks that we went to.
Yeah.
You want to start?
Yeah, sure. I think I was a bit unlucky during those 2 days. Actually, I have some family matters I have to attend, so I didn't manage to join all. But for some of the sessions I joined, I think one of the key highlight that I like was a session from Ray, I believe, from GX Bank.
Yep.
He was talking about how a team should be set up, right? Where you combine different skill set, different strength from different team members, even combining between designers and product managers to build one good team, right? We kind of worked together in the same company, so we kind of did tried that previously, but we didn't like follow through, right? So at least to me, I find that kind of validating what we were trying to do. Although I think maybe in terms of execution, I have a lot more questions how to do it well, right? Yeah, and one of the workshop that I attended was somehow also was kind of like working on that aspect as well, which is like having 4 different team members, and one is a group of leaders. One is like the innovators. One is lovers, which are like very friendly to everyone, and the other one was, what was it? But essentially, you have different strength, and you want to combine them together as a team. Doesn't matter what kind of role they have. Yeah.
I think maybe the session that Raymond shared from GXBand, I think that was one of my favorite as well. I think maybe because both of us are managing designers in our companies and leading them. It was interesting because when he was mentioning it, I was talking primarily, I think, on hiring at first. It's like, okay, I'm building this team. I want to hire people who have this skill set, but lacking this part. So I'm hiring another person to compensate on the other skill set that this or the first person don't have, right? So eventually, when you map it, it become a well-rounded team because there's always somebody to take over something that is not covered by the other person, right? So that's why I think you mentioned you overlap with PM as well, like product managers, because some stuff are very product management centric, where designers don't really venture into. So I think having those dynamic make it into a high performing team, right?
Yeah.
I actually catch up with him after, I think on day 2. I met him at one of the places.
What did you guys talk about?
I think at first I talk about that lah. Like, okay, I was talking about how can we implement this for an existing team, because I'm not hiring, like we are not hiring. So we have a team of people already. How can that be a guidance to maybe grow the team, right? I mean, there's no like straight answer from him, like, because I think he admitted that it is very difficult to do all that, even for hiring. But at least there's a way to move people around to see like where can this skill set be useful in terms of maybe different projects, for example. Right? So we can move people around based on that. But if you are training, maybe when you want to train another designers, maybe there are certain areas that they are lacking that can be used as well to figure out. As a guide, where should this designer go to next in terms of leveling up themselves, right? I think that's pretty interesting because he really go deeper. When I was talking to him, he told me that he was planning to go a lot deeper, but he cut it short. Yeah, it's supposed to be like deeper. But
that's too bad.
I think that's one of the. I think the reason why I like it because it's a bit more. There's a lot of substance in his talk, and also practical that anyone can try to start implementing it.
I agree.
In the company, right? It's not just high level conversation, right? That's one of my favorites as well.
I think I like that you mentioned how to implement it in current team, because I kind of have questions on that as well, right? Because as we know, in startups, things change and things change fast, and sometimes we already have people assigned to like different parts of the team, and then that suddenly your team is not well-rounded anymore, right? How do you approach that? Okay.
But it's also we have to admit that it's also a privilege to build a team. Most startups are like, that's the only guy. You have to be well-rounded no matter what, right? But if you're building a team, let's say you are leaders or managers, then that can be a framework that you can use to figure out who to hire, where to move people around. So that's pretty useful.
What are the parts of the FUSECON event that you like, or like one of your main takeaways, I guess?
I can talk about one more talks on day 2. I forgot his name. You need to look. There's this talk on day 2, I think after the keynote on the leadership track. He was talking about value proposition, product value proposition. At first I was like, okay, what else you can talk about, right? It's just value proposition. Everybody should know, and if they're building something, they probably know their value prop, right? But as I sit through the presentation, he gave a lot of examples. He gave a lot of practical things that you can try to do next, because he has a lot of background in big companies outside, like even help on the IPO of Property Guru and all that. I mean, you guys can go to FUSECON website and look at that value prop topic and see who's that guy. I forgot. But I think he gave a lot of very actionable advices.
What?
Like for example, when you come up with
some.
He put a screenshot of a website on the screen and he asked, "Do you think this?" Because on the screenshot of the website, there's a heading, right? What do people see when they land on your website? And then he will ask like, "Is this a good value prop or not?" And some people raise hand and all that, right? And he gives an example like, "This is not good. Why this is good?" He was mentioning about enduring problem, like things that I forgot what it means, but it feels like a long-term problem that cannot be solved easily. So there's a different way to write the value proposition, I think. For example, he was talking about this the startup in US, Text Turbo, I think. Like the TurboTax. Yeah, the copy was like, get 90% of your claim or something like, right? Tax return. So there's very straightforward value prop. Like, I don't have to say like easy to claim, easy to file tax, because they was talking about the result right away. Another example, the property website, right? Like find your home fast, for example, right? You're looking for a home, you go to the website, find your home fast. That's not what people want. I don't want to fast. I want to find a home that suitable for me, cheap, and all that, right? So another example from another website, find a home that you will love, for example, right? So there's more enduring to what people are trying to solve.
Sounds to me it's more like a jobs to be done.
Yeah, similar. I think it's quite similar. But I think we need to, let's say for us, right? Like when we are designing something, normally we work with writers to come up with a copy. Sometimes we try to be too descriptive. I would say that too descriptive on what you can do with this feature. I think we need to figure out how to straightforward, like this is what you can do or what you get out of this feature for them. I think those examples that he gave, I took a lot of pictures. I think that it would be useful for the team also to figure out how can we angle some of the features that we want to promote to the users. Yeah, that was one. Anything else on your side?
No.
The workshop?
Nothing I can think of right now.
Let me think of another one. There's few panels as well. On day one, at the end of the day one, there was a mental health panel. Yeah, so they were talking about mental health for techies. They put the word techie, that's so weird. But basically, people who work in tech. And there's a guy from Fabulous, the founders Fabulous. I think I saw him talk multiple times before. Taylor, I think. There's the CPO of Naluri. Doctor, she's a doctor, Dr. Tiffany something.
Yeah.
Tiffany, I can't remember. And there's the founder of Mole. I think her name was, I forgot.
It's okay.
Yeah, so they were talking about their challenge. I think at first I was like a bit unsure what the outcome of it, because I think there's a lot of advice that they give outside of the panel discussion that everyone in the audience can react to and can probably try like for example, you don't deny that you are having maybe like a stress or depression, and you have to really take time. Like if you need to take a break. Even Naluri, you know Naluri?
Yeah.
So they are basically they are product for companies to help their employees in terms of mental health, right? But they also admit that even them working on that product, they also stress because they have to work long hours. Not long hours, but they have to work on the product, satisfy the client and all that, right?
Yeah.
So they have to figure out, everyone in the company know about mental health, but are we practicing it or not, right? That's one thing that somebody mentioned, I forgot who, like about awareness. Like I'm aware about mental health issues, but am I accepting it? What's the word? Is it accepting awareness and something like, if it happens to me, will I be able to realize that it's happening or not? Or I'm just aware that it exists. Yeah, I think something that quite interesting.
So what was the main takeaway? Is it about for individuals to be aware when it's happening to them and act on it?
Yeah, I think a lot of people maybe deny it. I think I have that before. I was like, you're just tired, you're just stressed, let's just move on, continue, right?
Yeah.
But if you really struggle to make it work, maybe you have to accept it that you have to really take a break, talk to somebody if you need help, talk to your managers if you want to, make some changes, right? Instead of just accepting it how the way things are. A lot of people, I think the challenge is probably that lah, like they're denying it lah. Like, probably they're not used to talking about their emotion, right? Sometimes, especially guys.
Sometimes maybe even if they're not denying it, but maybe their managers is denying it, you know. I think that happens, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, leadership, it doesn't mean everyone is good at leadership, right? So if you are struggling with having a bad leader, it's something that you have to figure out the next step.
It's a very loaded topic, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have a lot of interesting people in the podcast soon. We are still looking for people who wanna talk to us. So basically, just chill.
People to talk to us,
right?
Please talk to us.
Just chill, you know.
Basically, I just want to know how people get to become a designer in the first place, like because a lot of people I know, a lot of designers that I know don't really go and study design. They were doing something totally different. So I want to see that switch, like how that transition happened, and what can we learn from that.
Yeah, because most designers are actually self-taught.
Yeah,
right.
That's why. Maybe now I'm not sure about the new current generation, but at least for us back in the day, a lot of people are from different. I would say. I mean, different industry, didn't study design, study totally different things. Yeah, so it would be interesting to know how they make that switch.
Yeah.
How they teach themselves how to do it. Alright.
So let's dive deep into that later.
Yes.
In our next episode.
Subscribe.
Subscribe and follow us.
Okay. How do you end this? See you guys out there. That's all. That's it lah just now.
That's
Alright, see you guys in the next episode of Design Thinking Club. Ciao.
See ya.